This way. Selling like hotcakes, as they say. A good novel about contemporary people. It's December, it's Christmas, it's a great year for books. These non-electronic, much less expensive devices that will last you your entire life. What is hot this year, what people are talking about, is Volume 1 of the autobiography of Mark Twain from the University of California. It has a great historical story behind it. Mark Twain said, "This cannot be opened or read for 100 years," and they waited exactly 100 years. For the baby boomer, the person who remembers the Rolling Stones so well, here is Keith Richards telling all of it. Actually, it's just Keith talking. It's like that Bob Dylan book a few years ago. Bob Dylan talks, Keith Richards tells you what happens, and he claims he remembers everything. David Sedaris has a new one, Squirrel Seeks Chipmunk. He casts himself as a modern-day Aesop, telling fables, except his squirrels and chipmunks talk about dating, about how much they hate dogs. It's one of the funniest Sedaris books I've ever read, and anybody who hasn't read it who likes Sedaris is going to absolutely go nuts for it. The great David Mitchell, who has made his reputation as sort of a Thomas Pynchon-y sort of postmodern writer, has written a deep and lovely historical novel about a young Dutchman who goes to straighten out trade between the Dutch and the Japanese. This is another huge one for Janet Freeman, who's one of my favorite book readers in Iowa City. She came down and just set it down and said, "That is really something." Barry Hannah, a lot of his stuff has been out of print. This is Long Last Happy. He is no longer with us, but he has left us a collection of stories that are some of the finer stories that you'll read. Some very funny Southern stuff, some very dark, peculiar stuff. Stephen Sondheim, the king of Broadway, has a book called Finishing the Hat. It's collected lyrics with attendant comments. And it goes back so far to '54 when he was a boy genius. If you've got any sense of the history of the American stage, someone's going to just go crazy for this book. Yes, yes, yes. Another Iowan from Des Moines, who is always a favorite, is Bill Bryson. This is one of his historical rather than traveling books. This is what he does when he stays home. And At Home is about the home he owns in England. And he goes from room to room and he just investigates as much of the history of home architecture and home living as he possibly can. As you know, if you've read Mr. Bryson, he's a great digresser. And he digresses and digresses and digresses in this, but only to the delight of his reader. Who doesn't love Grant Wood? Who from Iowa, anyway, doesn't love Grant Wood? This is the first full, true biography of Iowa's great painter. It's a book, the great ideological statement for $12.95. A monkey and a jackass sit and talk. The jackass has his laptop. The monkey has his book. The monkey is absorbed. The jackass just wants to know how the book is like a computer. It's very, very funny. How do you scroll down? I don't. I turn the page. It's a book. Do you blog with it? No, it's a book. Everybody will love that. Too Busy Marco by great New Yorker cartoonist Roz Chast. Chernow is a fantastic historian and biographer. There's a new John le Carré out. He's back with the Russians again. We got new mysteries by Elmore Leonard, Michael Connelly, Kathy Reichs, Dennis Lehane. I mean, this is a good year for new mysteries. Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. Keys to Cooking, a guide to making the best of foods and recipes. Are you people writing this stuff down? Gifts that will last forever.